This is the video for Day 4 notes. Our purpose today is to change fractions into decimals and then also go from decimals back to fractions. So let's start with something that we hopefully know how to do already. If I'm given a decimal and I'm asked to change it into a fraction, the question I think to myself is, what place value does this end up in? If you look right behind the decimal, that first one is called the tenths place value, then the hundredths, the thousandths, then you would have the 10,000ths, the 100,000ths, and it keeps going from there. So the first one does not start at 1, just make sure it starts at your tenths place value. So in our first example, we have a 6 that ends in our tenths place value. So to change it to a fraction, I'm going to go ahead and put 6 over 10. Do try and simplify it as well if you can. The big numbers to check for are 2, 3, and 5. So if they're even, for example in this case, I can divide them both by 2. And so my final answer would be 3/5. You can double check that on your calculator by doing 3 divided by 5, and it should give you out 0.6 as an answer. In our next example, we have 52 in the tenths, and then my last one is in the hundredths place value. So I'm going to go ahead and put 52 over 100. And again, I asked myself for 2, 3, and 5. Are these both even? Yes, I can divide 52 by 100, both by 2. So my final answer is 26 out of 50. The last one has 3 place values. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths place value now. So I'm going to go 375 over 1,000. And when I check to simplify, I see 2, 3, and 5. Those are the biggies. So can I divide by 2? I could divide 1,000 by 2, but 5 is not even, so I can't divide that number by 2, unfortunately. Could I divide them by 3? 3 plus 7 is 10, plus 5 is 15. I could do this number divided by 3, but unfortunately I can't do 1,000 divided by 3. Can I divide them by 5? Yeah, they both end in a 0 or 5. So I can go ahead and divide these numbers both by 5. If you want to divide by something bigger, feel free, you can go ahead and divide by something bigger if you know that already. I'm just going to go with 5, and we'll keep simplifying from there. So 375, well, 37 divided by 5 would be 7, and I would have 2 left over. So we're looking at 75. 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. And then I again ask myself, can I divide by 2, 3, or 5? Can't divide this one by 2. I can't divide this by 3, unfortunately, but I can divide by 5 again. I'd end up with 75 divided by 5 is 15. 200 divided by 5 is 40. And then shucks, I can go one more. I can divide by 5 yet again. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So on the test, help your teachers out. Simplify this answer as far down as you possibly can. Once you're done, you can use your calculator to check the homework tonight. I would do 3 divided by 8 in my calculator, and I should get 0.375 back as an answer. That leads us to this next section then. What happens if I'm given a fraction and I'm asked to change it to a decimal? In my calculator, for right now, we can try 1 divided by 9. So go and grab your calculator, pause the video if you need to. Let's type in 1 divided by 9. My calculator should come up with 0.11111. That number keeps going on forever. So I'm going to say my final answer is 0.1 with that bar on top of it. Go ahead and do that same thing for 2. 2 divided by 9. Did we get 0 point and then a bunch of 2's? Hopefully we did. Go ahead and put that bar on top of it. 2 is repeating. 3 divided by 9. That is the same if I divide them both by 3 as 1/3. Hopefully we all know that one. 0.3 keeps going on. 4 divided by 9. So my calculator type in 4 divided by 9 button. I should see a series of 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 keeps going on. Okay. On these next two, just be careful. When you do 5 divided by 9 in your calculator, it's going to say 0.55555555, and then there'll be a 6 here at the very end. But all that happened was that there was a 5 that was yet again followed by another 5. So it bumped that last number up to a 6. So even though you see a 6 at the very end, it was multiple 5s that then rounded that next one up to another higher number. But it did keep going with 5s forever. So it is 5 repeating. And then 6/9, again, that's hopefully one we memorized in elementary school. It's the same as 2/3. That's 0.6 repeating. Okay. There is something slightly different in tonight's homework though, and in the practice on day 4 worksheet. You're going to see how to solve these with an equation. Okay, so when you're left with something like this, it's maybe not something that we know right away without looking at our table if it's something different that repeats. So how I set it up with an equation is I'm going to go ahead and use this decimal. It keeps going on and on and on forever. And we're going to say that equals x. Now, if I was going to try and solve for something where I wanted to get rid of all these extra decimals, I have one number repeating forever and ever and ever. So I can actually do something where I take this whole line and take it times 10. In doing that, all I do is move the decimal one place. So if I was to take that by 10, I would end up with a new equation that looked like 4, and then all of those same repeating decimals equals 10x. From there, I can actually subtract those two equations. What would happen is all of my 0.4s that are repeating are going to cancel each other out for the whole rest of time. And I'm left with 4 minus 0 is just 4. And then over here, 10 minus, there is an x there, 10 minus x would leave me with 9x. Last step, instead of timesing, we know is divide. So 4/9 is my answer for x. Okay, we already saw that up here in the table. 4 divided by 9 in our calculator, we got as 0.4 repeating. The equation is just another way to confirm how I get this fraction of 4/9 to be 0.4 repeating. So on the homework tonight, on the practice worksheet, anytime you see something that repeats on and on and on forever, just know that it's going to be something divided by 9. If it's over 10, 100, 1,000, that decimal will stop. The only thing that makes it repeat is if I put it over 9. If you feel like you understand it, go ahead, you can try the equation part. If it's one number repeating, I take something times 10 to move it one decimal place, and that has all the repeating stuff get canceled out. If it's something that's 2 decimals repeating, we'll look at tomorrow, for example, I would take it times 100. Okay? Whenever you do that though, I'm always going to subtract this 1x, and it's going to leave me with that 9. So just know that anytime you see something repeat, it's because you ended up dividing by 9. Okay? Go ahead and leave this other parts blank. We'll come back to that tomorrow when we do 2 digits repeating. Go ahead and grab the day 4 worksheet. Make sure you save it because you'll need the backside of it for day 5 for tomorrow.